The Betrayal setting. Year 2387. Aboard the deep space research vessel Horizon's Edge, Captain Alex Reed stood at the observation deck, watching the distant stars. His ship carried the last hope for humanity, a cure for the plague that was killing Earth. The crew of 40 humans had spent 3 years searching the galaxy for the legendary healing crystals of the void worlds. Dr. Lisa Kane, his second-in-command and the woman he loved, approached him with urgent news. The alien species they had been negotiating with, the Keth, had agreed to trade the crystals. But there was a price. They wanted Alex handed over to them as a prisoner. The Keth blamed humans for destroying one of their colony worlds decades ago. The choice is yours, Lisa said quietly. But Alex, think about Earth. Think about the billions dying. Alex trusted her completely. They had been partners for 5 years, lovers for 3. When the crew voted on whether to accept the Keth deal, Lisa cast the deciding vote, yes. She looked him in the eyes and said it was the only way to save humanity. The handover happened at dawn, ship time. As Alex was led away in energy chains, he saw Lisa watching from the bridge. She didn't look away. She didn't cry. She just watched as the man she claimed to love was taken to face unknown horrors. But Alex didn't resist. He went willingly because he believed in the mission. He believed in her. The Keth ship was cold and dark. They threw him into a cell that was barely large enough for a human. Through the small window, he could see the Horizon's Edge getting smaller as it jumped to hyperspace, carrying the cure back to Earth. Days passed. The Keth guards spoke in clicking sounds he couldn't understand. They gave him water and strange food that tasted like metal. In the darkness, Alex wondered if Lisa had ever really loved him, or if she had always planned this moment. On the 5th day, he overheard 2 Keth guards talking in broken English. They were laughing about something. Through their words, Alex learned the terrible truth. There had been no vote. Lisa had made a deal with the Keth in secret weeks before. She had promised them Alex in exchange for the crystals, and she had lied to the entire crew about the voting. But the worst part was yet to come. The same guards mentioned that the Keth had another plan. They were going to follow the Horizon's Edge back to Earth and destroy it, taking both the cure and Alex's sacrifice with them. Alex sat in his cell, betrayed and alone, knowing that Earth would never receive the cure. Lisa had not only sold him out, she had doomed their entire species. The woman he loved had played them all. Yet even in his anger and pain, Alex couldn't bring himself to hate her completely. Somewhere in his heart, he still held on to the hope that she had reasons he couldn't understand. That maybe, somehow, she was still the woman he had fallen in love with among the stars. As the Keth ship prepared to follow the human vessel, Alex began to plan. He had been a soldier before becoming a captain. He knew how to survive, how to fight, and how to endure. If Lisa had given up on saving humanity, then he would have to find another way. The cell was small, but Alex was determined. He started working on the energy lock, using techniques he had learned in the military. It would take time, but he had nothing but time now. Outside his window, the stars looked cold and distant. Earth was somewhere out there, dying slowly while its people waited for a cure that might never come. The Horizon's Edge was racing home with crystals that would be useless if the Keth destroyed the ship. Alex pressed his face against the cold metal wall and made a promise. He would escape this prison. He would find a way to warn Earth, and he would confront Lisa about what she had done. But first, he had to survive whatever the Keth had planned for him. In the morning, they would begin their interrogation. They wanted to know about human military secrets, about Earth's defenses, about everything that would help them destroy his home world. Alex closed his eyes and tried to remember Lisa's face, the way it used to be, full of hope and love, before whatever had changed her. He would need that memory to stay strong in the days ahead. The betrayal hurt worse than any physical pain the Keth could inflict. But Alex Reed was still human. And humans never gave up. The prison, the Keth interrogation chamber, was a nightmare of sharp edges and blinding lights. Alex had been brought there every day for 2 weeks, his body bearing the marks of their crude torture methods. They wanted information about Earth's defense systems, about human military technology, about anything that would help them conquer his home world. But Alex gave them nothing. Commander Vex, the lead interrogator, was a tall creature with 4 arms and eyes like black holes. He spoke English with a voice that sounded like grinding metal. Your female betrayed you, human. She cares nothing for your pain. Why do you protect the world that abandoned you? Alex spat blood onto the metal floor. Because it's my world. The torture continued, but Alex's mind was elsewhere. He had been working on his escape plan for weeks now. During the long hours in his cell, he had managed to weaken the energy lock using a small piece of metal torn from his uniform. The process was slow and painful. The energy burned his fingers each time he touched it, but progress was being made. More importantly, Alex had been listening to the guards. His military training had included basic alien language skills, and the Keth language was starting to make sense to him. He learned that their ship, the Dark Talon, was indeed following the horizon's edge toward Earth. But there was something else, something that made his blood run cold. The Keth had been in contact with someone aboard the human ship. Someone was feeding them information about the horizon's edge's route, its defenses, and its crew. Alex didn't want to believe it, but the evidence was clear. Lisa wasn't just a traitor. She was actively helping the enemy destroy humanity. On the 16th day of his imprisonment, Alex finally broke free from his cell. The energy lock sparked and died as he crawled through the opening he had created. The corridor outside was dimly lit and empty. Most of the Keth crew was asleep during this shift cycle. Alex moved like a ghost through the alien ship. His years of military service had taught him how to move silently, how to avoid detection, how to survive behind enemy lines. The Dark Talon was large, but Alex had memorized its layout by listening to the guards' conversations. He found what he was looking for in the ship's communication center, a quantum relay that could send messages across vast distances instantly. The Keth had been using it to stay in contact with their spy aboard the horizon's edge. Alex's hands shook as he accessed the system, using the codes he had overheard from the guards. The message logs were all there, written in simple English, for the human traitor to understand. Alex read through them with growing horror. Lisa had been sending detailed reports about the ship's condition, the crew's morale, and their exact location. But the worst message was the most recent one. The crystals are fake. We discovered the truth too late. The real healing stones were destroyed centuries ago. The Keth have been playing with us from the beginning. They want Alex dead and Earth defenseless. I've made a terrible mistake. Please, there must be another way. Alex stared at the screen, his heart pounding. Lisa had finally realized what she had done, but it was too late. The Keth had been using her from the start, feeding her false information about the crystals, while getting everything they needed to destroy both ships. But there was more. The final message in the log was from Commander Vex to someone called. The asset, the human captain, will be executed tomorrow. After his death, we will destroy your ship and proceed to Earth. Your service to the Keth Empire will be remembered. Alex felt his world collapse around him. Lisa had tried to save him in the end, but the Keth were done with her. Both ships were going to be destroyed. Earth would never get the cure it desperately needed, and humanity would face extinction. But Alex was still alive, and he was free aboard an enemy ship. If he was going to die tomorrow, he would make sure his death meant something. The Dark Talon was armed with enough firepower to destroy a dozen human ships. If Alex could turn those weapons against the Keth themselves, he began working on the ship's weapon systems, using his knowledge of military technology to understand the alien controls. It would be difficult, and he probably wouldn't survive the attempt. But if he could cripple the Keth ship, maybe the Horizon's Edge would have a chance to escape. Alex thought about Lisa, about the pain in her final message, about the billions of people dying on Earth. Someone had to pay for all this suffering. And Alex, Reed was ready to collect that debt. Asterisk the sacrifice. 770 words. Alex had 6 hours before the Keth discovered his escape. He used every minute to study the Dark Talon's systems, learning how to turn the ship's own weapons against it. The quantum torpedoes were powerful enough to tear through the ship's hull, but firing them required access to the bridge, a place crawling with Keth guards. As he worked, Alex kept thinking about Lisa's final message. She had realized her mistake. Too late, but she had tried to warn him. Maybe she had loved him after all. Maybe the betrayal had been born from desperation rather than malice. It didn't excuse what she had done, but it helped him understand. The ship's corridors were getting busier as the crew prepared for the morning execution. Alex had to move carefully, hiding in maintenance shafts and empty storage rooms. His body was weak from weeks of torture and poor food, but his mind was sharp with purpose. He reached the bridge during the shift change when security was at its weakest. The command center was a dome-shaped room filled with holographic displays showing the position of both ships. The Horizon's Edge was only 12 hours away from Earth, close enough to warn the home world, but not close enough to deliver the cure that didn't exist. Alex disabled the bridge guards, using techniques he had learned in Special Forces training. The Keth were strong but slow, and Alex had the advantage of surprise. Within minutes, he had control of the ship's weapon systems, but as he prepared to fire the quantum torpedoes, Alex realized something that changed everything. The Dark Talon wasn't just following the Horizon's Edge. It was connected to it by a quantum tether, an invisible energy beam that allowed instant communication between the ships. If the Keth ship was destroyed, the explosion would travel along the tether and destroy the human vessel as well. Lisa and the crew would die along with their enemies. Alex stood at the weapons console, his finger hovering over the firing control. He could save Earth by destroying both ships, ensuring that the Keth invasion fleet would never reach his home world. But that would mean sacrificing the woman he loved and 40 innocent crew members. The bridge doors burst open as Keth security forces stormed in. Commander Vex led them, his forearms holding energy weapons that could vaporize a human in seconds. Step away from the controls, human. Your escape ends here. Maybe, Alex said, not moving from the console, but I'm taking you with me. Vex laughed, a sound like breaking glass. You cannot fire those weapons without destroying your own ship as well. We made sure of that. You humans are too sentimental to make the hard choices. Alex looked at the display showing the Horizon's Edge. Somewhere on that ship, Lisa was probably trying to find a way to fix the mess she had created. The crew was probably preparing to deliver their fake cure to Earth, not knowing that their mission was doomed from the start. You're right, Alex said quietly. I can't kill them, but I can make sure you never reach Earth. Instead of firing the quantum torpedoes, Alex activated the ship's self-destruct sequence. But he modified it, using his knowledge of human technology, to create a delayed explosion that would sever the quantum tether without destroying the Horizon's Edge immediately. Vex realized what was happening and opened fire, but Alex had already locked the controls. The countdown began, 60 seconds until the Dark Talon tore itself apart. You fool, Vex snarled. The tether will still destroy your ship when we explode. Not if they're moving fast enough, Alex replied, activating the emergency communication system. His voice echoed through both ships as he sent his final message to the horizon's edge. Lisa, this is Alex. The cure is fake. The Keth have been using you. They're about to destroy both our ships. I'm severing the quantum tether, but you have 30 seconds to jump to hyperspace before the explosion reaches you. Get back to Earth and tell them what happened. Tell them ... them we tried. Through the quantum link, he heard Lisa's voice, broken and desperate. Alex, no. There has to be another way. There is no other way, Alex said, watching the countdown reach 10 seconds. I forgive you, Lisa. I never stopped loving you. The last thing Alex saw was the horizon's edge disappearing into hyperspace, carrying Lisa and the crew to safety. Then the dark talon exploded around him, taking the Keth invasion plans and Earth's coordinates with it into the void. Alex Reed died as he had lived, protecting the people he loved, even those who had betrayed him. The returned Lisa Kane stood on the bridge of the horizon's edge, staring at the empty space where the dark talon had been. The explosion had been visible even through hyperspace, a brief, brilliant star that marked the end of Alex Reed's life and the beginning of her guilt. The crew was silent around her. They had all heard Alex's final transmission, had all learned the truth about the fake cure and Lisa's betrayal. Some looked at her with anger, others with pity, but all of them knew that their mission had been built on lies. Captain Kane, said Tom Blake, the ship's engineer. His voice was cold and formal. What are your orders? Lisa wanted to crawl into her quarters and disappear, but she was still in command. Alex had died to give them a chance to escape, and she couldn't waste his sacrifice. Set course for Earth. Maximum speed. The cure is fake, said Dr. Maria. Santos, the ship's medical officer. We have nothing to offer them except the truth. Then that's what we'll give them, Lisa replied. The truth, and a warning about the Keth. The journey back to Earth took 3 weeks. During that time, Lisa had to face the consequences of her choices. The crew divided into 2 groups, those who blamed her for Alex's death, and those who understood that she had been manipulated by the Keth. Neither group trusted her completely. Lisa spent her time reviewing the quantum communication logs, trying to understand how the Keth had played her so perfectly. They had approached her months before the betrayal, claiming to be a peaceful species that wanted to help humanity. They had shown her fake evidence that Alex was secretly planning to keep the cure for himself, that he would use it to gain power. On Earth, she had believed them because she had wanted to believe them. The pressure of command, the weight of humanity's survival, the fear of failure, all of it had made her vulnerable to their lies. But that didn't excuse what she had done to the man she loved. When Earth appeared on the main screen, Lisa felt her heart break all over again. The planet looked sicker than when they had left. The atmospheric processors were failing, and the population was dropping by millions every month. The blue marble that had once been humanity's pride was now a dying world desperately waiting for salvation. The Earth Defense Force intercepted them at the edge of the solar system. Admiral Rebecca Hayes, Lisa's former mentor, appeared on the communication screen with hope in her eyes. Dr. Kane, please tell me you have good news. Lisa took a deep breath. I have the truth, Admiral, and I have a warning. The debrief took place in the orbital station above Earth. Lisa stood before a panel of Earth's leaders, scientists, military officers, and government officials who had pinned all their hopes on the Horizon's Edge mission. She told them everything: the fake cure, the Keth deception, Alex's sacrifice, and the enemy's plans to destroy humanity. The room was silent when she finished. Admiral Hayes looked older than her years. So we're back where we started. No cure. And a new enemy that knows our location. Not exactly, Lisa said. Alex's sacrifice bought us time. The Keth think both ships were destroyed. They don't know we escaped, and they don't know we've discovered their plans. That gives us an advantage." General Marcus Stone, head of Earth's military forces, leaned forward. "What kind of advantage?" Lisa activated a holographic display showing the data she had gathered about Keth technology. "While I was cooperating with them, I learned about their weaknesses. Their ships are powerful but slow. Their communication systems can be disrupted. And most importantly, they're not united. They're an empire held together by fear and conquest." "You're talking about a war," said Dr. Elizabeth Chun, Earth's chief scientist. "The war is coming whether we want it or not," Lisa replied. "But we can choose to fight it on our terms instead of theirs." Over the following months, Lisa worked with Earth scientists and military leaders to prepare for the Keth invasion. She shared everything she had learned about their technology, their tactics, and their culture. But more importantly, she helped develop new weapons and defenses based on the alien technology they had studied. The fake healing crystals they had brought back turned out to be useful after all, not as a cure for the plague, but as a power source for Earth's new defensive systems. It was a bitter irony that Alex's sacrifice had not only saved them from the Keth, but had also provided the key to Earth's survival. As Lisa worked to prepare her world for war, she carried Alex's memory with her. She had betrayed him, but he had stayed loyal to her and to humanity until the end. Now it was her turn to honor that loyalty by protecting the world he had died for. The legacy 2 years after Alex Reed's death, Earth faced its greatest challenge. The Keth Empire had discovered that the horizon's edge had survived, and they were coming with a fleet of warships that could destroy entire worlds. Lisa Kane stood in the war room of Earth's Orbital Defense Command, watching the tactical displays that showed the approaching enemy fleet. She was no longer just a doctor or a ship's captain. She had become Earth's leading expert on Keth warfare, the architect of humanity's defense against extinction. 60 ships, reported Colonel James. "Right, studying the sensor data. They'll reach Earth in 18 hours. Are our preparations complete?" asked Admiral Hayes, her hair now completely gray from the stress of the past 2 years. Lisa nodded. "The orbital platforms are armed with quantum disruptors based on the Keth crystal technology. Our fighters are equipped with Alex's final gift, the navigation data from the Dark Talon. It shows us their blind spots. And the ground-based pulse cannons are ready to fire." But Lisa knew that technology alone wouldn't save them. Earth's population was still weakened by the plague, and their military was outnumbered by the Keth fleet. They needed something more. They needed the one thing that had always made humanity special. "There's something else," Lisa announced to the assembled commanders. "I've been working on a project that Alex would have approved of, something that uses our greatest strength." She activated a new display showing Earth's communication networks. "For the past year, we've been reaching out to other species in the galaxy, races that the Keth have conquered or threatened. We've shared our defensive technology with them, and in return, they've shared their knowledge with us." Admiral Hayes looked surprised. "You've been building an alliance?" Alex believed that humanity's role in the galaxy wasn't to stand alone, but to bring others together, Lisa explained. "The Keth rule through fear and isolation. We're going to beat them with cooperation and hope." As the Keth fleet approached Earth, Lisa's alliance revealed itself. Ships from 12 different species emerged from hyperspace around the solar system. Not enough to match the Keth in raw firepower, but enough to even the odds. The Vexhai brought their energy shields, the Kurtani provided long-range missiles, and the Zuluka offered their knowledge of Keth battle tactics. The battle lasted 3 days. Lisa coordinated the defense from Earth's command center, using everything Alex had taught her about leadership and sacrifice. When the Keth tried to break through the orbital defenses, humanity's allies provided covering fire. When the enemy attempted to land ground troops, Earth's citizens fought back with weapons powered by the fake healing crystals. On the third day, as the Keth fleet began to retreat, Commander Vex himself appeared on the communication screen. The alien who had tortured Alex now looked defeated and desperate. "You have won this battle, human, but the Empire is vast. We will return with more ships." "No," Lisa said calmly, "you won't." She activated the final part of her plan, a quantum virus that the Alliance had developed together, designed to spread through the Keth communication network and disable their war fleets across the galaxy. As Vex watched in horror, his ships' systems began to shut down, and similar failures were reported throughout the Empire. "This is for Alex Reed," Lisa said as the transmission ended, "and for everyone else you've hurt." The victory celebration lasted for weeks. But Lisa found herself standing alone in the memorial garden that had been built to honor the crew of the Horizon's Edge. Alex's name was carved in black stone, along with the words, "He stayed when others would have fled. He forgave when others would have hated. He sacrificed when others would have saved themselves." Dr. Maria Santos joined her at the memorial. "He would be proud of what you've accomplished." Lisa touched the stone carving of Alex's name. "I hope so, but I'll never stop wondering what would have happened if I had trusted him from the beginning." "The Keth would have found another way to manipulate someone else," Maria said gently. "Evil always finds a way to use our fears against us. What matters is that you learned from your mistakes and made things right." Over the following years, Lisa helped transform the Alliance into a permanent peacekeeping force that protected smaller worlds from conquest and oppression. The healing crystals that had started as a lie became the foundation for real medical advances that saved millions of lives across the galaxy. But most importantly, Alex's example of loyalty and forgiveness became the foundation of human diplomacy. Where the Keth had ruled through fear, humanity led through compassion. Where the Empire had demanded submission, the Alliance offered partnership. Alex Reed had died believing in the best of humanity, and his faith had been justified. His betrayal had become Earth's salvation, and his sacrifice had given birth to a new age of peace among the stars. Lisa never forgot the man who had stayed when she had failed him, who had forgiven her when she had betrayed him, and who had died to save the world that had abandoned him. His legacy lived on in every life the Alliance saved, in every species that chose cooperation over conquest, and in every human who chose to stay and fight when it would have been easier to run away. The galaxy was a better place because Alex Reed had refused to give up on the people he loved, even when they had given up on him. Asterisk